Gig apps versus brokered opportunities. I'm going to talk about that on this segment of the Gig Geezer. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, or if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. This segment of the Gig Geezer is about the discussion of gig apps and what I call brokered opportunities. Gig apps to me is broken up into gig food delivery apps like your DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Instacart, and your catering opportunities like Delivered and Delivered That. And then also your last mile gig apps of like the Bungees and the Roadies and the Dispatches. And then you've got brokered opportunities. And brokered opportunities are your road opportunities where you're transporting goods within your vehicle over the road. But in my case, in 90% of the time, it's actually regional, local or regional, in which I'm often home the same day. Now, both have been essential in my building my personal enterprise as I have over the past 9 months. Both actually have been a part of my strategy of how I wanted to go about working this personal enterprise. And the actual execution of these components have been nothing like what I drew up on the chalkboard. But the actual money earned is there though. Now, for example, back in December and early January, I thought that what I would be able to do was work the gig apps, be it the gig food delivery apps and the last mile apps, like Monday through Wednesday. And then after earning what I earned, I would make up the difference by working the road, transporting items or cargo or goods through local or regional or perhaps to another state. Well, that didn't unfold the way I thought it would. In fact, while I applied for my USDOT number and also purchased my authority both in January, it was 3 weeks before my authority was activated by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And then as you deal with most brokers, your authority has to be active 90 days, in many cases 180 days, in some cases 9 months, and in some cases 1 year, or even worse, 2 years. But many of the places that I have seen want you to have your authority active 180 days or 6 months. Now, my authority will be now active going on 9 months towards the end of October. Now, along those lines with brokered opportunities, I thought that I would be able to transport items, for example, like from Columbia, the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area, which is where I'm at, say up to Richmond, Virginia, a place that I'm very much familiar with. So that's a 5-hour drive, 375 miles, and I thought I'd be able to make $500 to $750 on opportunities like that. Well, what I have found out, it doesn't really work like that. You've got brokers that may offer $300 for that same trip. Although the one time that I actually have transported an opportunity up to the Richmond, Virginia area, it actually originated in Greenville, but it originated in Greenville on a Friday, but the item was not to be delivered until a Monday. So you had some dead time there. So I ate the dead miles from Greenville to Columbia that Friday in my personal accounting. And then I counted then the trip from Columbia to Richmond, and I earned $500 for driving 360 miles actually, because it was just before you hit Richmond. Now, I actually made more than that $500 that day. But have I seen other opportunities since then? Quite honestly, no. Now, have I gone to Virginia on other occasions? Yes, and I've actually documented those here on the Gig Geezer channel. In fact, the last opportunity was last month, in which I booked 2 loads to Virginia, and I made a total of $950. The other opportunity in which I had to load to Virginia, I made just south of $720 that day. So again, it hasn't gone exactly as I've drawn up on the board, but I have had a couple of opportunities. There was the one thing that I always wanted to do in transitioning away from gig food delivery apps, because at one point, gig food delivery apps accounted for over 90% of the money that I earned in a month. I also wanted to transition away because of the potential being deactivated at any time. You're always one delivery away from being deactivated. Just like when you do rideshare, you're one ride away from being deactivated. Being black flagged or deactivated on the last mile app side is not as common. It's not a common occurrence as it is on the food and rideshare side. Pose this as gig apps versus brokered opportunities. So what are some of the benefits when you're working gig apps? These are some of the things that I've seen over what I've been able to kind of formulate over the past several months now. With gig apps, you're more than likely going to be working local miles, and you're likely to drive fewer miles. You're probably going to have better time management because you're able to plan out your day more precisely and even more concisely, and also you're able to spread it out if you'd like. Now, when I did primarily gig food delivery apps, I would break my day up into shifts, but the total hours that I would work in a given day could be anywhere between 6 and 8 hours. Another thing with gig food delivery apps, or just gig apps when you're working locally. Now, when I compare the money that I earn to brokered opportunities, some days the gig app money, particularly when I do last mile opportunities, can be very comparable to a brokered opportunity. On the gig food delivery side, I can't say it can be, but it's not as common or often, at least in my personal experience. Maybe because of because I don't place as much emphasis on gig food delivery side as I did maybe this time a year ago. But the way I see gig apps now is more like if on a football field, it's my handing the ball off to a running back or fullback, and it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust, because the money earned may not come at a larger amount as, say, in most cases, as with a brokered opportunity. But again, as I mentioned, the money can be comparable, particularly when you work last mile gig delivery apps. It can be very comparable. In fact, a good example, late last week, Thursday, September 21st, 2023, I had a last mile gig delivery app opportunity that paid me $421.20. That's the exact number, delivering wood products from North Charleston, South Carolina, to a town outside of Savannah called Guyton, Georgia. Now, earlier in the week, I actually had a brokered opportunity that paid $450 delivered from Sherrill, South Carolina, to Atlanta's airport. So the money can be comparable both singularly and categorically. However, it is still different in the way the money is earned. When you do gig apps, quite often there is some physical labor involved, particularly with the last mile apps. Maybe with Instacart, if you got a lot of water and sodies to lug, either upstairs, downstairs, or from the store to your vehicle, there's oftentimes physical labor involved. If you do the last mile apps, you may have, like I had one opportunity, there was like 20 planks of 2x4s, and then 100 planks of picket wood fencing, and then there was 10 bags of concrete to deliver. I had to load all that into my vehicle and then unload that from my vehicle. The difference when you do road opportunities or brokered opportunities is what they call no touch. Invariably, just about every opportunity that you're going to transport is going to be loaded onto your vehicle. Just about every one opportunity that you're going to have is going to be loaded onto your vehicle by forklift, or it's palletized. It's palletized, and it's going to be loaded onto your vehicle by forklift, and then almost invariably, almost in every situation, it's going to be unloaded from your vehicle by forklift. That pallet's going to be unloaded from your vehicle by forklift. Now, the other thing again is that you're driving fewer miles, meaning in most cases less gas consumption, and you're also spending less time. Whereas when you're doing brokered opportunities, you may leave at the crack of dawn and then you may get home that night, but you're home that night because of the driving that's involved. The other benefit with gig apps is that it can serve as a stopgap. When you're out there, if you're out there doing over the road, you're out for multiple days and you're still you're waiting on a load, you're waiting to be booked for a load. The gig apps can serve as money earned while you're waiting to make your money to get back to your home base or get you close to home base, or it could add to your cash flow if you're stacking opportunities, as I often do. Another way to look at it is that it is simply another option of earning money. When I speak of the brokered opportunities, I am talking about opportunities that are over the road or that they're local or regional, but you're driving the road. And typically with brokered opportunities, you need to have an MC number or your authority in order to even book these opportunities. Now, I mentioned in this segment of the Gig Geezer, when you're trying to book your own opportunities, the first question they're going to ask is for your MC number. That is a given. You cannot get around that if you're looking to book opportunities on your own. You may be able to get around that not having an authority, having your authority if you're going through a carrier fleet or someone else, or you're driving under someone else's authority. Then you're driving under their authority, meaning that then you don't need an MC number, or that is not required on your part. So I'm not going to get into that discussion because I've talked about that ad nauseum as well. I said in the teaser, gig apps versus brokered opportunities. I don't see a clash of the two. What I see is if you're successful at making each component work in your personal enterprise, somehow they are options that can lend to you making what you're looking to make at the end of the day, at the end of the week, and at the end of the month. And so how you do that, that is on you. And then as I throw in the other component, cash game, and some people ask me, what is a cash game? It is means by which you earn cash. It's as simple as that. Means by which you earn cash. How you do that, that is also on you. But it is yet another component that it can be yet another component of your personal enterprise. The thing is that what I've noticed, though, at least for what I've noticed for me over the course of this year, as I have mentioned how I wanted to be less dependent on gig food delivery apps, that trend has actually played out. And if I were to just give you an overall view of what I'm talking about, as of September 23rd, 2023, I had earned, at least for this month, as of September 23rd, 2023, I had earned over $8,800. And for the year, over $77,000. And gig food delivery apps had accounted for less than 10% of the money that I earned to that point, September 23rd, 2023. Last mile gig apps had accounted for just a tick under 42% of the money that I earned to that point, September 23rd, 2023. And brokered opportunities had accounted for just under 40% of the money that I earned, at least to that point, September 2023. And then overall, for the entire year, gig food delivery apps had accounted for just under 30%, or about 29% of the money that I earned in 2023. Last mile gig app money had accounted for 40% of what I've earned, and brokered opportunities had accounted for just 15.5%. However, over the last couple of months, since August 1st, these are probably more realistic numbers that I've been seeing. Gig food delivery app money has accounted for less than 7% of the money that I've earned. Last mile gig delivery app money has accounted for 45% of the money that I've earned. And brokered opportunities have accounted for 40% of the money that I've earned. So if I just go empirically off of those numbers, what I am sharing with you is that I have no problem with none of these things. It's just that which one that I'm making more of a priority. But I think realistically is just how things have played out. There are days in which you're not going to be able to book load opportunities. And so how are you going to continue to make your money? Well, you may turn on the apps. And so what has earned me more money has been the last mile gig apps. Now, what has also contributed to money that I've earned has also been the gig food delivery apps. And in small measures, the cash gain. But as I mentioned, both singularly and categorically, the brokered opportunities do come in, and they come in big. Some weeks the brokered opportunities carry the week, and in other weeks the last mile gig delivery apps have carried the week or the day in both situations. What I like to think I've done in this segment of the Gig Geezer is actually give you a much more in-depth view of how the Gig Geezer has gone about earning the money that he has earned in 2023, but also how I have operated my personal enterprise. And so, if for nothing else, this may give you additional motivation. It may serve as additional information. But either way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, and as always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.